It is end of October, and that means that in a couple of days we are shifting our clock. We go from summertime to wintertime. We push back the clock, the wall clock, for 1 hour. And it takes some time before our body clock also adjusts to that shift in time. Duke is your name here in the Netherlands. Mengzhu, welcome here.
Thank you.
Because this is a topic that you are studying.
Yeah.
You come from China. You came to the Netherlands, and suddenly you were experiencing wintertime and summertime, which you did not have in China.
Yeah, we don't have this change in China. We only have a unique time zone in China.
And that does not shift
Not shift.
with the seasons.
Yeah.
Want to go back to China for wintertime?
Not really.
You see the advantages of it or not? Because
Yeah.
what is actually happening? When we shift the clock, we see that it gets dark earlier in the evening hours. So our day shrinks even further. That's the feeling in the evening hours. Already days are getting shorter, and then suddenly it is already dark very early on. In the morning, we see initially the opposite. We see that we have a little bit more light. And the idea initially was to save energy.
Yeah.
Daylight saving time is the American name for shifting the clock.
Yes, that's where it comes from.
And quite often it means that during the working hours we have the daylight, but when you bike to your work and when you get back to work, it is already dark. That is something that sounds like a simple shift of the clock, but we know that many things are happening. There are more accidents just after the shift of the clock. It's not so easy for people to adjust.
Yeah, sure. From our study, we know that it takes several weeks to fully adjust to these transitions.
And several weeks sounds like quite long.
Yeah.
Because it's just a 1 hour change.
Yeah.
How hard can it be to adjust? And apparently our body takes quite some time to adjust. And that's why I guess some people do not like this shifting, although getting the longer evening hours as we have it in the Netherlands is pretty attractive.
Yeah.
So let's see, what can we do? What do we find in scientific papers about this? How does our body clock adjust to that? And for that, you have been looking into mathematical equations.
Yeah, we actually trying to use these differential equations to simulate people's circadian rhythm. As you can see, on the left side, it's called process C, which is the circadian rhythm model. And on the right side, it is the process S, called sleep homeostatic model.
Yeah, so we have a circadian rhythm. That's not the same as how we sleep.
Yeah.
Sleep is a kind of separate process which is steered and controlled and interacting with that circadian rhythm.
Yeah. Sleep is decided by both the circadian rhythm and also the homeostatic pressure, sleep pressure.
Yeah. We're not going to walk you through each and every step in the equations. We later on have a reference to the paper.
Yeah.
But there's one important thing that I would like to mention here. In the equations, we see an X and a Y. And my body clock can be expressed as where am I? Where is my X? Where is my Y? During every time of the day. And during the daytime, these X and Y move along in a circular way.
Yeah.
And that's my body clock.
Yeah, that is your clock.
Takes 24 hours to travel along?
Not all the people having this 24-hour circadian rhythm clock, but with the sunlight, we always in train with this 24-hour.
With the sunlight, we entrain. And what I see happening there, if I try to understand these mathematical equations, is that for every X and Y, there's a natural way of moving around, but light influences the way that is moving around.
Yes.
For instance, what is happening in the different parts of the day, in the different positions of this X and Y?
Yeah, as you can see from the picture, the right dot represents where you're standing. And after you wake up, if you're having some light, then the light helps you to push forward your circadian rhythm.
That sounds like the light is already telling my body, come on, day has begun, light is there, your clock should be ready for the day. So it pushes forward the clock.
Yeah, pushes you to work.
Yeah. And if you want to get fresher in the morning, having a kind of early morning walk helps you to push forward that clock.
Yes.
That's also what you've seen in
Yes.
some of your papers.
Yes.
Okay. What happens in the evening hours? Because I'm hearing a lot about blue light in the evening.
Oh yeah. If you are having a strong light during the evening, then it also pushes back your circadian rhythm. That makes you feel not that sleepy, and you sleep late.
Pushes back your circadian rhythm. So we see that the factors are pushing back and telling my body something like, it's still light, day is still on. If your clock is already ready to sleep, that's wrong. But if we switch on the lights or watch our smartphone, that's not the right signal.
Yeah.
And pushing our clock backwards such that I only sleep later is not the healthiest thing to do.
Yeah, it's not healthy for people. Yeah.
Can we say that not healthy, or is that confirmed?
It is not a good habit for people to sleep late.
Yeah. Now, what we see, of course, if we analyze these differential equations in a bit more detail, is, of course, a lot more detail about what actually happens when we give light at a certain moment of the day. And let's translate that to what can we do to adjust better to wintertime, to adjust better to summertime.
Yeah, for the autumn transitions, as we said before, you got an extra hour, which means your circadian rhythm was 1 hour behind the sunlight.
I see you already think, because we are switching a lot between the wall clock and our body clock.
Yeah.
It's pretty hard to understand what we're actually doing. Eh?
Yes.
All right, so let's try to recap then.
Yeah.
During the night, in the autumn transition, we push back our clock.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
the wall clock.
Yeah.
And our body clock still has to find out during the rest of the days.
Yes.
And it has also to decelerate.
Yes.
So the worst thing to do then is to give a lot of bright light in the morning, because it further accelerates the clock.
Yeah.
Well, you should decelerate it.
Yes. Your body clock was leading the actual the wall clock. Then you should avoid to have that much light in the morning, so that can help you to make your circadian rhythm be aligned with the wall clock. Yeah.
But finally, I can stay up late, watch movies on my smartphone, get a lot of light during the evening hours. That helps during the transition.
Yes, it helps during the autumn transitions.
So in the autumn transition, end of October, you could do things at home. In the spring transition, it may be in the office that you crank up the lights during the morning or go out
For work, yeah.
These are conclusions that you have been drawing from doing mathematical evaluations on a model that comes from chronobiology and from the medical world. Are the conclusions that we are now drawing medically approved?
Yeah, it is not medically approved.
But we see more and more traction of using mathematical models for this use, although the way of doing research in the engineering domain would be, we have a model, we can generate algorithms to say, when do I give more light, when do I switch on the lights, how do I automatically control the lights? Whereas the medical world would do that in a different way, or would have an additional step, namely say, we have an hypothesis, you should have a lot of light in the evening to switch back your clock, and then have a reference group that gets the normal light, a new test group that gets the different light.
Yeah.
And that is still something that we could now do, and then immediately verify that with the models and make steps relatively quickly. Now, thanks, Duke, for joining and explaining this at a quite high level.
Yeah.
If we want to see the details, what should people do? Tune in to this channel, subscribe to us, or?
Yeah, please set our paper.
Okay, go to the scientific papers. Scientific reports, Nature Scientific Reports, that is where you've been publishing this work. Improving adjustments to daylight saving time, transitions with light.
With light, yes.